Hello, how you doing? My name is David, and I'm going to explain to you what is Satoshi for Storage. Okay, let's begin. But before I do, I ask that you please go out and get a copy of Unlocking the Secrets of Web 3.0 Wealth. Okay, this book came out about 5 months ago now, and it's very important for what we are going to go through coming in the near future. Okay, I'm actually going to do an audio version of this, so look out for that for those of you that don't like to actually read and actually listen. And I'll make sure it's fun. Okay, now getting back to the history and why I came up with Satoshi for Storage. Okay, now the story goes, or the what happened was, I invested in Filecoin a long time ago, and that investment, I wanted to see how, what I wanted to do really is for Filecoin to raise up, and then I'll be able to trade that in for Bitcoin, because there's always ways to try to get more Bitcoin, and that's my goal, is how much Bitcoin can I get, because there's only a limited amount, and eventually you are going to have $1 million per Bitcoin, so if you can get one Bitcoin now and just accumulate it, then eventually you will be able to be a millionaire. Okay, got my beats. Anyway, so I said to myself, this Filecoin is not profitable at all, and it keeps going down. So I got annoyed with it. I don't want to get rid of it, but I figured, how can I actually have a positive on this? And I said, well, you know what? Why don't I just use Filecoin for what it's for? Why don't I develop with it? Because all the protocols that we have, in order for them to have value, we all have to start developing with these protocols. And like, Ethereum is a protocol, and when Ethereum first came out, they wanted to do the Internet of Things and use cryptocurrency to pretty much use cryptocurrency as the transactions of the Internet of Things. So each device that has an action creates a payment. Okay, and it's very interesting to understand that, because that particular payment system is how I'm trying to figure a way to say this. How, let's say, the elite of the planet are hoping in the future to manage, right? To manage everything. And you manage that through the transactions through blockchains, because everything has its own unique ID, okay? And everything in your house can have its own unique ID, especially with IPv6. You have so many IP addresses that you can name everything. You'll never run out of them. Okay, and using those IP addresses with cryptocurrency and smart contracts, man, it's like the mark of the beast on steroids. All right. So I thought about why is how do you actually develop on Filecoin? For Filecoin, what it is, it's a database, but a new type of database, or alternative type of database that utilizes blockchains. Interplanetary file system that's what it's called. It's named is because they're saying that you can actually have eventually they want this particular database to be on Mars. That's why they call it interplanetary file system. And it's a lot cheaper, and it's a lot more secure, and it is decentralized. Okay. So I really wanted to start figuring out a way that I can, as a developer, start building different applications with it. And because it was going down in value so much, so I said, okay, let me look into this. And as I was looking into it, I found Filebase because the storage market, or the storage category, right? The storage category has like Saya, then you have Store, and I met the developer Store, a really cool guy. He was at Rice University a couple years ago, and I was there just taking a course on cryptocurrency. Matter of fact, that was my first course I took on cryptocurrency, and I was at Rice University in Houston, and I met the guy that developed Store, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, man. First found out about interplanetary file system, and then when the Filecoin came out, I jumped on it, and it was a really, really good decision at the time. So anyway, Filebase uses something called Saya token, okay? And the Saya token created, it's like the first one to actually have that I was able to see a actual product for. And there's also other things, like you have an IPFS podcast, and it uses the XML files, and you can take the XML files, and if you are doing a radio show, the Filebase reads the XML files and actually has your radio, your IPFS radio online. And actually, you can go to my website, bitmainstreet.com, and click on the link up top, and you'll be able to go to the sovereign network. You actually see the decentralized sovereign network, okay? All right, now, not to bore you too much with all the detail, and try not to get too technical, the history of Satoshi for storage is based on what I'm telling you right now. Okay, now, when I discovered Filebase, okay, I said, wow, I can actually purchase for just $20. Now, this is important because this is how you can make a lot of money with this if you choose to purchase Satoshi for storage, okay? Because it's more than just a application that you can earn money with. It's an application that you can expand and build your business on. And I purposely built it on Joomla, utilizing the Joomla templates and the Joomla database, my PHP admin, and it's on the PHP files. So everything is, it's easy to customize, okay? It's one of the original OG technologies, especially when it comes to content management systems. It's built on PHP, and you can overlay a lot of different content with that. Like I use PHP to work very well with the Satoshi for storage build that I had, and that's utilizing the databases and the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin blockchain works well with PHP as well. So what I did was I got Satoshi for storage, okay, because of the Filebase. I figured out there was a problem that I came across, okay? I went to solve a problem. That's how most things start. You say, how do I solve the problem, okay? The problem was, when I rented the Filebase storage space, even though it was inexpensive, I had a limited amount, okay? Meaning that for $20, I can have like 800 gigabytes to 1,000, right? And let's just say 1 terabyte, okay? So I said, okay, if I have 1 terabyte, I can divide it up to this amount. And then I did these different, how much money I can make per month. And then I topped off at like, I can make this much a month. That's if I sell them. If I sell the space, and then I become like a Dropbox or something like that, and Google Cloud, like, in a very small Google Cloud, because all I'd be able to give people like 10 gigabytes here and there. And what would you use that for, right? So all these problems started coming up. But then I said to myself, you know what? What if you can have a limited time with the space, right? And I call it parking, storage parking. Kind of similar to WeTransfer, and I just heard about this the other day, and I was like, oh, they do that. So it's pretty cool, right? So there's already another use case you can use for this, but it has to be expanded. You know what I mean? So let me explain. So what you do is you take a file, and you park it for either 24 hours, 48 hours, or 72 hours. Top is 3 days, okay? Now, why would you use something like this? Well, you would use it if you are a journalist or you're a student or, anybody that just doesn't want to have their files hanging on the web for so long. You can actually use it and then it expires automatically because I wrote a script that just deletes it. I don't know what's on there. I don't know what you put on. I have no clue, okay? And I like it that way because it's a way that each person can have their own version. And we could have multiple ways, multiple places where we can put our files on for just 24, 48, or 72 hours. Okay? Hope I'm making sense. So what I did was I built what you see on this website here. You can go and look at the demos. And what this demo does is, it does just that. You take a file, you upload the file, you choose how long you want it to be done, to upload it for, and you say, okay, I want to do it for 24 hours. So you choose 24 hours, and at the moment, the 24-hour price is 99 cents. Okay, and you pay. I think I'm just going to do it only right now because it is Satoshi for Storage. You pay exclusively in Bitcoin. All right. Now, this right here, if this would have came out 4 years ago, 5 years ago, people would have been like, oh my goodness. Why? Because the whole Bitcoin wars, right? That whole Bitcoin controversy was due to the fact at the time that you couldn't purchase something for like 99 cents. You couldn't purchase a cup of coffee. And people were so upset that they said, you know what? Bitcoin is supposed to be like money. And you had this guy named Bitcoin Jesus, and he built Bitcoin Cash. And when he built Bitcoin Cash, nobody used it. And because they love Bitcoin, that's the original Bitcoin. But Bitcoin Cash did everything that an altcoin would do. And people said, okay, well, just use the altcoin. And that's why Ethereum became, more popular, because Ethereum, people were building altcoins on the Ethereum blockchain to solve the problem of Bitcoin taking too long to solve the transactions and you not being able to buy a cup of coffee. But then came Lightning Network. Lightning Network came in, and now the transactions that you make can happen lightning fast. That's why I call it Lightning. So what I wanted to do is I said, okay, let's test this out. And I built an application on top of Lightning with a application that is available for everyone that utilizes a sovereign network. So I took the sovereign network, tied it into the application, or I took the sovereign network that has the application and built an application that utilizes the network. And the application is in the ClearNet. Okay, so now you can go on the ClearNet that utilizes the blockchain in order to create these transactions. Now, the transactions, okay, are what you will need if you want to create a store on top of this, okay? So now, just right now, you can select a product, right? And the product would be the 99 cents, 24 hour, that's the product. And then you'd hit purchase, And then an invoice will come up, and that invoice is the actual invoice of the Lightning Network that allows you to pay for just 99 cents, okay? You can create, and which I did with another website, the it's called BitMain Street Network, all right? BitMain Street Network, once you click on that from the newsletter, you'll see that I have multiple ways that you can pay. And that's why I built that, so you can go click on it and you can see that you can go from $24, $90, anything, any products, okay? This is very powerful and very important to understand. Satoshi for Storage isn't just something that you can download and use as your business. It's something that you can look at the code and start to expand the code, build on the code, okay? Take it, put it on a USB. I mean, it's very powerful code that I'm giving you for this. Now, the code itself, you know, it's pricey, you know, about $500 for to license it and take it and utilize it and expand it. But you can make that money back if you set up Satoshi for Storage on your own server, or you can put it like I did. I put it on a hosting service, and now that I set it up, I just put my own wallets there, and my wallet, and then my product selection, which is the amounts of times of Satoshi for Storage of Satoshi. Okay. Now, you have to understand what is Satoshi. If you're wondering what the hell is he talking about, Satoshi is the smallest increment of Bitcoin. There are 100 million Satoshi in one Bitcoin. Satoshi, right at the moment, I think for every 1,000 Satoshi, that's what is that? 50,000 Satoshi. How much is? Let me see. Right now, I have this on. If you want to figure this out, you go to cryptospiracy.com, and the Cryptospiracy, I just want to see what the price is right now. You have I have a couple tools. I have a couple tools that I have on here, and it's in the portal. You go to cryptospiracy.com, and that's a newsletter that I have for people. So if you want to know what's going on in the Bitcoin in the news, I have I have these XML newsletters, news sites that I'm bringing, and I have them all aggregated onto the site. Okay, and it's broken up in different sections. Okay. So at the moment, I have here, if I did 1,000, okay, 1,000 Satoshis will give you 87 cents. Okay, 1,000 Satoshi give you 87 cents. All right, which is pretty interesting. So to get back to what I was saying, what the heck was I saying? Oh, you can create a, with Satoshi for Storage, okay? You can expand it to create products. And your product offerings are going to be based on Satoshi. 100,000 Satoshi is one Bitcoin. So now, 1,000 Satoshi, like I said, is 87 cents. Once you start to accumulate Satoshi, you are getting closer and closer to one Bitcoin. Okay? You're getting closer and closer to one Bitcoin. The amount of Bitcoin that decrease in value, the more expensive it's going to be to purchase a Bitcoin. So if you're Satoshi, if you're getting 1,000, if you have to spend 87 cents, for 87 cents you get 1,000 Satoshi. Okay? That's what you want. You want to get 1,000 Satoshi for as cheap as possible. You want to get 1,000 for Satoshi for 10 cents. You want to get 1,000 Satoshi for 1 penny, right? At one point, you could do that. But now it costs you 87 cents for 1,000 Satoshi. It's very important that you understand this. And for every dollar that you spend, you double the amount, right? Then you spend $1, okay? Just think about how much Satoshi you get, $5. Now, what happens is, even though it's the smallest increment of Bitcoin, the gains in that compared to your dollars, right? If you have $10 and Bitcoin goes up in value, then that $10 is actually going to increase in value because of the percentage that you're purchasing with. That's just $10, right? And that's why it's important that you have to think, if I take this same $10 and put it in the bank, what interest am I going to get on that? But if you're taking $10 and purchasing Satoshi with it, it's going to go up, because the law of math is there's only 21 million, right? And there's a lot of people that are diehard because Bitcoin is not an investment per se. It's a lifeline. And there's a difference between an investment and a lifeline, right? And the lifeline, there's very few lifelines out there. There's gold, there's silver, and there is cryptocurrency now, right? And each lifeline has its advantages and disadvantages, right? The disadvantage of Bitcoin is people say it's a disadvantage. I don't see any disadvantages with it, you know? Okay, the biggest disadvantage of Bitcoin is that it's electronic. And if the internet goes down, then you pretty much are done, right? You'd be like, what? Yeah, but everything is done then, right? If there is no internet and everything is down, so is the banking system, credit cards, everything. And everything has to go back to barter system. And that's why it's important that the other options are gold, silver, and Bitcoin, right? And because any currency that you have, any fiat currency, is always going to go down and always going to fail. You have Zimbabwe, Weimar Republic. We know this, right? The United States is like at 37 trillion, soon to be 38 trillion, probably 38 trillion right now. Doge went in there to try to save something. They only were able to save like 200 billion. Like, what is that? What is 200 billion? I mean, seriously, it's a drop in the bucket compared to it. Elon Musk got more than that. Okay, he could only save 200 billion from a country. Okay, and he got more than that. All right, now think about that. Okay, so the problem with I went off on a tangent there. So anyway, that's why it's important that you need to understand. That's why it's important. Sorry, I just saw a message on my screen. That's why it's important that you need to understand why it's this particular project that you see here, this beautiful Satoshi for Storage. That it's important that you understand that, purchasing it, using it, and then what I hope to do with this is build a community around it. So then we can start expanding it and having our nodes. And then the next step will be, okay, now I have my node. How do I make the node, right? We have the IPv6 internet, right? The internet of Tor and decentralized sovereign networks, and building websites on it and combining those websites with the ClearNet, all right? Having the ClearNet and have the decentralized networks work together, building applications on it, and then being able to build your own, pretty much your own internet, your own, like when I first started developing websites, and I went to San Francisco City College. It was 1997, I think, 1997, 1998. and I was just going to get my associate's degree. I was in my mid-20s, and I was like, man, I didn't even graduate from high school. Okay, I had my GED, and I was just like, and my roommate at the time, I remember his name is Ahmed Azam. And if you're out there, Ahmed, I love you, brother. Thank you for that advice. Ahmed tells me, he says, David, man, why don't you go to school, man? Go to City College. And I was like, City College? Like that expensive? He's like, dude, it's only $11 a year. He used to talk like that. He smoked a lot of weed at the time. My man was funny. He was cool. He was Egyptian dude with these dreadlocks. And they call him the Funky Pharaoh. He'd be at the club drumming, Funky Pharaoh. Anyway, so Pablo would say, Pablo, that's another brother of mine. Ahmed would say, dude, why don't you go to City College, man? I laughing and stuff. Anyway, I was like, yeah, man, let me try that. It was only $11 a credit. And I was like, man, this is cheap. And at the time I was bouncing in nightclubs. I was working in San Francisco night scene in the 90s, right? And it's cool because Silicon Valley came in and it just destroyed the city. The city was so much fun. Oh my goodness. You'd be able to walk around to different parts of it, and everywhere you went was different because it had its own culture, you know? And it was just sick. Everyone was happy and they got along, man. It was good. It was a good time. See? Reminiscing. So anyway, get back to Satoshi for storage. All right, so Ahmed says, go to school, go to City College, and City College is going to help you to, do what you need to do. And I said, yeah, I went in, man. I decided to sign up for music. Ahmed was like, music? I was like, yeah. So I did music courses for a while, and I learned how to read music and write music and stuff. And Ahmed was like, dude. And I'm like, what? Why are you tripping, And he was like, why don't you do computer science? Because I loved computer science. But, at the time, I was intimidated by that. But I read this book. It was, oh man, what was the book? I can't think of the book now. Something about America. I have it upstairs. I wish I'll show it next time. Actually, you know what? Let me find that book. Okay, I found the book. This book right here. Empower the People. A seven-step plan to overthrow the conspiracy that is stealing your money and freedom. Okay? Tony Brown, author of Black Lies, White Lies. Look at this book. This book is old. Okay? This book came out, let me see, when was it published? It says, and while I'm doing this, can you please purchase the application? Help me out. Help us build this beautiful, let me show you. Actually, y'all can't see that. Okay, I'm trying to find out when this book was published. Oh, 1998. 1998. Oh, that's such good times in San Francisco. That's the time, boy. Anyway, I go to school because after reading this book, right? In it talks about you have to learn COBOL because they were talking about in 1999, everything is going to go crazy. It's going to go haywire. And everybody was like, oh my goodness, it's over with. And I was like, okay, So he said, you need to go to school and learn all this stuff. And I read that first. And then Ahmed was talking about you should go to school. But I was, I said, I'll go to school. I'll do some music. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know COBOL. Like, how am I going to learn that? You got a program. I'm like, well, I need a computer. And I didn't have a computer at the time. And Actually, no, I did have a computer. I bought it. No, was I bought it in 97 or 98? See, everything's starting to kind of mesh together now. But I remember around the same time, I bought a computer and it immediately, because it had Windows 95 on it, immediately it became obsolete. It's like, damn. Like, you know how AI is like progressing so fast? The same thing with the computers. When the computers first came on the scene, it was Windows 95, then Windows 98, then Windows 2000, then 2007, 2008. You know what I'm saying? That's how Windows kept advancing, but the chips were getting bigger and bigger and faster. All right. Now, what do I mean the chips? The CPUs. Okay. Before the GPUs, they had the CPUs, and the CPU would give you this beautiful. It was like 500. How much was it? 500 gigahertz or something like that. So I can't like. Anyway, you just had 500, right? And then it went from 500, and then it doubled to 1,000, and then it started going from 3,000, and then 33. You're like, whoa, these things are flying, you know? And I built my first computer, and I had to upgrade it. And I took all the stuff off it, and I was putting together the motherboard. And at the time, you got these different peripheral devices, and you had to take these jumpers, and you had to move the jumper over. I don't know why. I think I was doing something, I was upgrading the power, and I think because the CPU was a little bit faster, the motherboard had to give more juice, so you had to put a jumper in certain places. And I was using a tweezer, and I was on this carpet, you know what I'm saying? And I'm working on the computer, and all of a sudden I'm sweating, stressing, and the computer goes. I was like, oh, what the hell, you know? And then I was reading the books. I got this book, and it was talking about, if it shocks, it burns the motherboard out, and it didn't work. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I had to go to the computer store and buy another motherboard. And then I bought one. I brought it home. It was too small because I had to be an ATX. Because remember, they had them towers that were all crazy, and I couldn't fit the motherboard. I had to go back to the store, and they had NVIDIA. I remember they had these NVIDIA cards. I was like, what is that? Wow. And they had RIA, and they had all this stuff, and I would go to the computer store, and I was like, man, this is sick. And after that, I was hooked. I was buying memory and stuff, and then it was a joy. But then I built my computer, and it was working. Man, I was like, this is sick. So I built a computer, and I was already hooked on school. So then, actually, you know what? I built a computer first. I wasn't in college yet because I was making money with these news groups. The news groups. I was on the news groups doing all this crazy work, man. It's like top secret stuff where I was organizing emails and stuff with the news groups and stuff like that. And a friend of mine, he was like this computer genius. They were doing computer stuff a long time ago. And he was like, hey, Dave, you want to make some money? I'll help you, earn this amount. And you just do these emails. I was sitting there on these news groups, managing these emails. And back then they had I remember they had ICQ. Remember ICQ? ICQ was like one of the first chat. It was built by Israel back then. I was using ICQ back then. And man, it's like just going down memory lane right now, Anyway, so I learned how to build. The reason why I'm telling you this, okay? The reason why I'm telling you this is because I was able to see how the internet evolved, okay? And being able to be an early developer and having to learn these different tool sets, and then watching, first they had dynamic HTML, and then from dynamic HTML, then they went into the CSS and learning out CSS, and then oh man, and then Bootstrap came out, and and you're seeing all this new technology start to come out. So, and then after I graduated from school, I didn't know that I was like an advanced learner or had like advanced knowledge, you know, not to the level that I had, because I went out and I went for a job, and man, it was like a bidding war. I had never had that before. People were like, oh, I was like, damn, you know, it was crazy. I'm sorry about that. It was crazy. And I had never made that much money in my life. I got hired for this company called Rapid Logic, and a bunch of geniuses, man. And I've never seen anything like this. The first company I worked for was eGreetings, and I would go to work, and they had this big bowl, this huge, full of M&Ms. And people were sitting down there just playing video games and stuff, you know what I mean? And then when I went to Rapid Logic, there was a bidding war against another company. I can't remember that company. And they were like, we'll pay you, Rapid Logic, we'll pay you this much. They will pay you this much. And I was like, we can match it. And I was like, do you know how much? And they go, I said, how much did they give you? And she wanted to beat their cost and bring me over. And I should have said yes, like a damn fool, you know? Anyway, I don't know. It might have not have been good. But I took the first offer, and it was a lot of money, especially at the time. And when I worked there, though, it was a whole nother world. Same thing. It's like you go to the cafeteria. I don't know why my poor stories always turn to food. I guess that's where you compare M&Ms and food. But this was another food one. I went into the cafeteria, and it was just a buffet, all you can eat for free. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting there like, do I got to give like a card or something? I was using school. You know, you go to school and you get your food and be like, put that card in there. You hope somebody's on it. You know what I'm saying? But I just went there and was like, okay, I get used to this. And they had chefs. Anyway, it was a beautiful campus. And then we got acquired. We got acquired by Wind River. And Wind River was amazing because I worked on a promotion, or no, it wasn't really a promotion. It was a explanatory video for the X-28 parachute for the Mars rover. And it was on CNN. And you know what I'm saying? I just at the time, you don't know how big this is. You just think it's like, you know, and I'm sitting there like, you know, building this thing, and the vice president is there, and they're asking me to do this thing. I'm like, sure, no problem. I'm just hooking them up and stuff, and it goes on CNN. That was crazy. And the sad thing about it is that job, after they had 9/11 attacks happened, and then you had the .com, that company was still good, but then they had to lay off a lot of people because the stock prices started to go down. You know what I mean? And then after that, I moved to Sweden and stuff. But then why am I telling you that story? Sorry about that. I'm just reminiscing. This isn't your regular sales video, and you know, I just think maybe you should know about the person behind this build and why I built it. And I was thinking of ways to sell this and doing these I think clever. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna talk to you, all right? And hopefully you see this and make your decision to purchase what I built, and you can see my vision on why it's important that you purchase that, okay? So I tell that story because being able to see how the internet evolved and the different things that came out of that, I was also able to see how the internet manipulated us, everybody. And that's with the Facebooks and the Googles and everything that we use is spying on us, collecting metadata and selling things to us and censoring us and telling us what we can say and what we can't say. What the hell, man? You know what I mean? And that's not what the internet is for. We want freedom. You know what I'm saying? We want things to be like they're supposed to be, you know? And then instead you had these multi companies buying up everything and it's just horrible, all right? So we already solved one problem. That's the money problem with Bitcoin. But we need to solve the other problem. That's the freedom problem. We need to be able to speak what we want to speak and say what we want to say, okay? And we need to be able to do commerce with who we want to do commerce with. We ain't talking about no criminal activity. We're talking about honest commerce that's on the blockchain. Honest conversation that we speak on our own private networks, okay? And we can only build that if we work together. And when the internet first came out, the skies were the limit. You know what I'm saying? People were just building these different websites, and you had different Google search, different search engines, all these different companies. You had Yahoo and then Google, and you have this one thing was like a dog search or something like that. But it was cool, you know? And AOL, and it was just like, wow, you know? Now we can reproduce that though, that same feel with a decentralized networks, all right? Now, what I want to do is I have a $50 course that you can take. Or let's just say this, for $50 a month, okay, you can join the network, and the network you'll have access to everything, okay, access to it all, okay. Now, of course, you're going to have to purchase the Satoshi For Storage because that's how I'm going to fund this. But I have a crypto course. I'm going to update that crypto course. I built this tool. It's called AI. It's an AI coder assistant, and it's absolutely amazing. It has 3 functionalities. It has the discovery phase where you become like a pimp. It's a project manager, a scrum manager. And what that does is you take a idea and you build it out into increments, but you manage each portion of it. So what I did was I created I have a way that I build things, the spiral development that I learned when I was learning how to program with Java. They were also teaching us the UML language or the UML modeling. And with this modeling, you are able to figure out different phases of software that you're developing. It's a stage in software development, and when it's the beginning stage of discovery, and then you start to map it out. And what I did was they also teach you how there's different ways that you can actually start programming. So one of them was a spiral development model, and then you have watershed, and you had I like the spiral development model because it had different portions with iterations that have prototyping. So you would develop and you build these prototypes, and then as you're building, you eventually have this project, this product, and that's how I build all my stuff. I just take that, go back to the basics, and I said I don't have to use it just for building Java. I can do it to build all type of projects. So I said I would like to actually build an AI coder assistant based on this concept. So I went and I said to, I took this course. It was like, it's real easy, anybody can take it. It's an AI skills course, okay? And I saw it because I was looking at this lady on TV. She wears this leather jacket sometimes, and she talks about all this technical stuff. And I can't think of her name right now. But she had a deal where she said, for 3 days, you get 3 days free with this skills. I was like, Brr. So I went in there, I took it. And I was like, 3 days, like, damn, it was like 10 hours. Woo, it's brutal. But you learn it if you can retain it. So I was like, boy, I downloaded everything, was reading through everything. It was like, man, I'm a pretty fast learner. That's a blessing I got. I'm a pretty good fast learner. And man, I looked at how they built them. They built those prompts. and a light bulb just said, boom. I was like, oh, of course. And I just knew I understood what I had to do. And then I want to teach y'all how to do perfect prompts, okay? And I don't want to give away too much stuff right now because there's a course that I want to offer, and it's for this year, and it's about prompting. I want to show you what I know so you can duplicate what I've done, and I think it's just going to be amazing for everybody, especially for the network. Once we know how to use this AI tool and we're building, man, they can't tell us nothing, bro. Nothing. Insist, brother and sis. Okay, now check this out. Check this out. Because I keep going off on a tangent here. So the skill set, I learned to this AI coding assistant, my server's making all this noise. I developed the AI coding assistant with these prompts. I totally forgot what I was saying before, but let me focus again. Anyway, let's keep it moving because hopefully I'll remember what I was thinking about. But what I wanted to say, I'll make sure I want to say anything. I'm about to end this video soon. I can't think of it right now. I get too excited about this. But I hate when I turn this video off, then I'm going to remember, and that's going to annoy the heck out of me. Anyway, what did I want to say? I want to say that join me on Fridays. Okay, I do a live. This is what I wanted to say. Okay, $50. Okay, that's how much it cost for the access as a member, and you get access to everything. Okay, and I was talking about the Satoshi. I was talking about the actual Satoshi. There's three things, okay, and I talked about the first one. The first one, which was the Scrum development tool, which I developed based on the spiral model, okay? And then the iterations of that model, okay? The second portion of the tool is the actual development of the product. And that's where I call it the spiral development model, okay? And that's where I get that from. The spiral development model is now taking each piece of the actual iteration and developing that piece. And it's based on a prompt that you can build this. And I was like, man, bro, AI, it's crazy. So I created these prompts, and I go in there and I say, this is what I want to do. And I actually built it in two places. I did it in OpenAI and also did it in Claude. In Claude, oh my goodness. It is the most professional detail. Sometimes it's too much detail. Like, man, like, whoa. But it's useful. You know, sometimes you have like, okay, I have a lot of content, but how much of it is actually usable? What, 10%, 90%? I mean, 50%. This particular content, 95%. There's a lot of fluff. You can say, please take that out of there. But man, it's just like, I have one thing from because there's in the portion I have for the beginning, it's the it's the Scrum development discovery portion. And it basically says, what problem is this website going to solve? What do you want to do with this website? And then it asks you these series of questions. And then based on those series of questions, it builds out this amazing, Claude builds out this amazing response to it, right? Now, what I did was I took that response and I said, I call it a feeder document. That feeder document is fed into my spiral development model. in the spiral development model, reads the feeder document based on the questions and turns that into actual code. Code that it tells you how to build. And that's important. It's important. Excuse me, because you want to build it yourself. You always want to use your brain to build and have the code. Know how it's built, okay? And then you eventually learn how to build this, and then you want to expand things that you know how it's built. You can expand on it, all right? You never want to have something, if you're going to have somebody build something for you, you got to rebuild it to know how it's built. That's the rule, okay? And AI wants to make you lazy. But you don't want to be lazy, but you still don't want to be a fool and say, I refuse to use AI. No, you got to know how to use it. Use it intelligently, right? Use it to teach you. Use it to teach you how to learn or teach you how. I mean, it's just, there could be a way in which we can work with this AI, and I found it. So the AI tool, the AI coder assistant, what it does is it actually gives you a code. And I have something called a teacher mode. In the teacher mode, it brings the code out and it tells you exactly how to build it. And then I have another portion that's called the debugger, and it helps you. If you get stuck, you take that code, put it there, and it gets you out. It gets you unstuck, right? And then I have it where you have your environment. What environment do you want to work with? Are you doing Apple? Are you doing Windows? Which version of Windows? Do you want to do Ubuntu on Linux? Anyone? You say what environment you want in, because it's AI. AI knows everything. It just goes out there and figures it out, and then it sets it up for you, right? But the secret is the prompts, all right? So now what I did was I took all of this working code, this beautiful code, and I'm using it. And I said, what if I made this into an actual application? Let's make it into an application. So, you have these programs that are great with Node.js and React, and they create this beautiful application for you utilizing your AI tool. So now it's a beautiful AI assistant into one beautiful application, and it's called the AI Coder Assistant, okay? And that's what offer you for $50. $50. You sign up, you can use the assistant, you help me, you can, of course there's gonna be issues where bugs and stuff like that, because I'm the only one that's testing against it. But when we find the bugs, we fix it. I have a tool, helps us fix the bug. It's AI, and it gets better and better and better, and we can build these beautiful applications utilizing the tool. All right, that's probably one of the most exciting things I did last year. Even though I wrote this book, this wonderful book, even though I wrote that book, I'm still excited, even more so, about the AI assistant. Okay? No, I don't say that. Equally, okay? Equally for now, because this book is very important. I've been working on different portions of that book for about 2 years, and then everything kind of came together, So I hope you guys purchase that book and support what I'm trying to do. So that's pretty much the Coder Assistant. You got 3 parts. You got the Scrum, then you have the Spiral Development Model, and then you have the debug, and then you use this to build. And actually, I built not Satoshi For Storage. Satoshi For Storage came out before that, but I started building Main Street, and I had the portion already done. I don't have these things in here because these things can be used on the decentralized sovereign network. Okay, this right here, you see that? These are the nodes that are going to connect. All right, and this is just one of the options. This is a Start9 server, but they have a lot of other ones you can use that have these applications that we can put on. But the important thing is that you just get the Bitcoin. Okay, so yeah, this is some really exciting times. But right now, to support my efforts, I ask that you purchase the application Satoshi for Storage. You have all these different options. Let me see what we have here. I have a special going on. First 10 buyers enter to win. Grand prize winner, BTCPay store setup and hosting. Okay, you get the store setup and the hosting. That's $1,500 value. You get 2 hours expert consultation. That's $300 value. And you get, am I crazy? You get 100,000 worth of Satoshi, pure Bitcoin. All right, that's crazy. I'm gonna set up a wallet for you. And this is it. This is it. And I figure, if I sell 10, the first 10 buyers enter to win. If I can sell 10 of my applications, $500 a piece, that right there will help me to get a little bit out of the hole I'm in right now. Because I did some stupid stuff, Well, it wasn't stupid. It was necessary because I needed to build this stuff, and I didn't work like I anyway, it's a long story. Okay, I need to sell this software. I'm in a pickle right now. But it's okay. It's worth it. It'll be all worth it. So you get 100,000 worth of Satoshi. Total prize is $1,820, right? That's his total prize. That's worth it. Plus 100,000 Satoshi. Now, come on now. That's some good stuff right there. Okay, now, what do you get? All right, now, go to the website, you scroll down, and your investment, $498.44. Monthly cost, $20 to $100. Of course, that's the Filebase system. Break even, week 1. Potential monthly, $5K, $297K. Now you say, what's he talking about? All right. That's why I want y'all to join my conversations. And I think once you purchase the first, you guys can just come on. And actually, you know what? Anybody that purchases this, we're going to have open discussions anyway as support. And then I can talk you through whatever you need to learn with this software. Okay. But you start small, 800 gigabytes, monthly cost, $20. Storage units, 8,000 to 100 megabyte slots, 8,000 to 100 megabyte slots, 50% utilization, 400 active slots, average cycling, 15 months equals 60,000 renewals, potential, and this is all just potential. My goodness, Actually, you know what? The potential is so good that I'm actually going to scale it back because when I put this data in here, it was based on an actual scenario that I asked AI. And I was like, man, because you're selling space that expires in 24 hours. You see what I'm saying? That means you're making money every 24 hours. And the potential of that is only limited to your network. You see what I'm saying? Your network that purchases your space is how you make the potential profit, If let's say you're an influencer, right? And you have like 100,000 followers, 200,000 followers, right? And you say, hey, y'all, I got this new this new application that I'm using is called Satoshi For Storage. It helps you to purchase time on my server, and this time on my server will allow you to upload files, and these files that you upload will immediately be wiped from the site. And you can do all kind of things with it, you know, depending on how you talk to your audience, on what they, you know, how they would use it. But there's a lot of use cases in it. Quick drop, user capacity, 42,800. Price per user, 99 cents. Total monthly revenue. I mean, it's just crazy, right? Maximum revenue potential by plan type, short stay, user capacity, 8,560. Price per unit, 1,049. Total monthly revenue, $12,754. Full session, user capacity, 4,280. Price per user, $1.99. Total monthly revenue, 8,517. Like, what do you mean? Well, that's why I want you to go on this website, start looking at it, we read it, ask me questions, and then I'll show you how to set it up. Okay? Early adopter price, limited time only. I mean, this is crazy, right? And the reason why it's hard for me to set this up is because I have like a fear, which is crazy, that it's going to get so popular that it's going to be hard to manage, you know? And I don't want to make you as a user upset and think that I don't know what I'm doing because I'm overstressed, you know? So that's part of the reason why it's taking me so long to actually bring this out, which is crazy. But I just want to make sure that, I guess you could say I'm a perfectionist, and I tested it hundreds of times, and everything's working, and I'm thinking like, okay, what about this? And it's based on a database, and what about this here? And because there's a lot of moving parts, you know? And I want to start small, but I don't want to start so small that I'm unseen. You know what I mean? And I tried word of mouth and stuff like that, but that's not going to work. I really got to be like, I'm here, you know? And then just take whatever happens after that. But this potential is real, okay? It's very real. And, you know, and not everybody's going to make that. Am I making it? No. Why? Because I haven't set it out there. I haven't publicized it. I haven't really talked about it. I haven't explained what it is. I haven't done this. This is my first video that I'm actually talking about Satoshi For Storage. And look, I've been talking now for like an hour and 3 minutes, okay? And I figure, you know why I'm doing this video like this? Because I remember going to different funnels, sell funnels, right? And you click on the sell funnel, and that video was long. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to buy some damn workout stuff. This is back in the day when they first came out. It was like this workout, how to do these workout, this whole program. And I was like, man, I want that. So I clicked it, and that video was forever. I was like, damn, just talking. And he's like, my goodness, I just want to buy it, please. The torture, and I don't know why they do that. So I'm doing it. But you ain't got to wait forever to purchase. You just purchase, you know? So, and I wanted to explain why I decided to it says right here, ready to claim your data sovereignty. Let me show you. It's pretty sick. Can you see that? Barely. Yeah, but actually, you can see it now. You're on the website. Just scroll down. All right, let me stop joking around. So please go to SatoshiForStorage.com. Also, you'll be able to use the AI tool. You can go into the Sovereign Network. There's a newsletter I have. I have a crypto school, crypto academy school. You know what I'm saying? I built that like years ago. You know, if people would have, if I was able to put it out then, because what happened with that, it's a crazy story. I was ready and I was putting stuff out. I was excited. And because of the whole Sam Bankman-Fried issue, they were censoring stuff and I got this all campaign ready, went out there and just like, you know what I'm saying? And if people would have been able to understand back then what I was trying to do, can you imagine the position you would be in now? Bitcoin was under like $30,000 back then. Okay? It was like, then it went, anyway. Well, we can't really stress on the past. We have the future. Okay? Now, if you can act on this before 2028, it'll be a lot better for you. Because once this administration leaves office, who knows what type of executive orders they're going to put out there. Because if Trump can do executive orders, somebody else can put executive orders. And if executive orders are that easy to put out and they become law, what type of executive order are they going to come out if the wrong person gets in office? We don't know. We don't know. So how do you build a hedge between that? Well, you got to build your own sovereign network. Okay? You got to own your own money. You got to be able to communicate. And I built a way for us to do that. All right? And you can support that effort by purchasing my Satoshi for Storage. Okay? All right, thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to spend your time with you. Thank you for spending that time with me. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to say. This is a very unorthodox selling method here. And I was thinking of ways like, how can I sell this? Like, you know what? Just talk to people. Just tell them your story and just relax and just get it out. Okay? And you guys help me out. Much love and respect. Hopefully I see you in the future. Hopefully I can meet you. You can sign up for the website. And I would like to talk to you. I would like to help you and guide you, and we can build. But let me shut up. I can talk forever. I just want to say much love and respect. I'm Daweed. Hopefully we meet. Peace.